Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the if statement, for loop and while loop in Java. So we just start a new project and we will give it a name as usual. So this will call it, we call for example exercise number 2. Okay, so we will again create a class. I'm gonna call it again my program, and then so I will just open the editor and we will do just like what we have done in the previous exercise. We will just put the public class my program, then we have to add the public static void name string parts. This is, we mentioned before in the class that we are going to use this at the beginning of any Java program. So what we need to do, we will just import the package for the input, since we are going to take an input from the user. So what we would like to do today is making a program that takes let's say 3 numbers, and these 3 numbers we would like to check which one is greater than the other. So which is what's the maximum, to be more specific, what's the maximum value of 3 numbers. So we'll just ask the user to enter 3 numbers, again XYZ, and we'll create a scanner object, new scanner system.in. Then we will ask the user to enter 3 values. Now if you would like to ask the user to enter 3 values to display a message, we learned last time that system.out is the one which we need to use. So we will just say system.out.print line, let's say enter 3 numbers. Then we will ask the user to enter 3 numbers, one in x, one in y, and one in z. So we'll just say here in.next int, and we do the same for the second one. Let's just copy and paste. Okay. So now we'd like to check which one is the maximum. So what we need to do is basically find the maximum, so using the if statement. So we have to put if. So the first difference between Java and Python, that we have to put the parentheses. Here it's a must. So we'll just say, for example, if the first value is greater than the second one, and the first value is greater than the third one. So as you can see here, we have 2 conditions. We combine them with the and. This is how we write and in Java. So we'll just enclose the whole condition with brackets. So if this is a true, we will just say, well, display a message, system.out.print x is the maximum. So as you can see here from this, we have x greater than y, x greater than z, so it's going to be greater than both. Of course, there is another way to solve this, which means you can use if statement that checks with check x with y. Then if that's a true, you compare it to the z, which is more efficient than this solution, but I just want you to have an idea of using the and operator in this example. So if this is a true, then x is the maximum. So I forgot here the double quotation. So we just say here else, we write if again. So we'll just take the same if statement, copy and paste here. Of course, you can write the if statement just next to the else with the space, or you can just put it below. So it's up to you which one you prefer. However, here we're checking if y greater than x and y greater than z. Then we'll take the same statement, copy and paste. We just say here y is the maximum. And else, then definitely z is the maximum if neither x nor y is the maximum. So this basically supposed to find the maximum of three numbers, assuming we are not using groups. So what we need to do here is basically to check whether it works fine or not. But before I do so, as you can see that the if else statement. So let's anyway just to check whether it works or not. So we'll compile. We are just compiling. So as you can see, compilation. In the compilation, we have a class compiled, no syntax errors, perfect. So we just need to check now what happens when we run the program. So we'll just try to click here and click on the main and we put OK. Now we have entered three numbers. So let's enter, for example, 5, which is x, 8, which is y, 1, which is z. So it should display 8 is the maximum. Perfect, 8 is the maximum. We should add a space just to separate 8 from the is. So I can just go back to the code and we write here, we just add a space next to is. Now what if we want to put two statements inside the if statement? So for example, I don't want just to say this is the maximum. For example, I would like to save the value in a variable called max, then I want to display. So let's just add, for example, int max, and then here once if x is greater than, so we just say put braces and we say max equal x, and we close this. So as you can see, this starts from here and ends from here. Of course we will replace x with max. Of course this is an extra step, but I just want to show you that if we have two statements within the if, or we have two or more statements within the else, you need to add the braces. So here, for example, I just want to do the same thing over here. I just put this max equal x, max equal y, and we just say here max again. So we need to close this. So this is the beginning of the if, this is the beginning of the else, and here we have an else statement which just says max equal z, and we put here max, and we close the braces. So we have braces for the if, braces for this if, braces for this else. Now this else is basically contains this if else statement. If else statement is considered as one statement all together. However, you can still add inside the else that starts from here and all the spot inside the else. So I need to add another brace which is currently here. So I will start this else here and I will close it here. So let's compile once again and let's test our program one more time. Let me clear this. Okay, so let's run it. So we will enter the 8, say 9, and 10. So 10 is the maximum. Perfect. Now what if I'd like to take the three values using a loop? I don't want to take them like that, and I'd like to compute the maximum as we take the input. So what we will do in that case, since we know that we are going to take three elements, so we just do the following: enter three numbers and we make a loop that repeats it 3 times. So what I'm gonna do is I will remove all these things again. Once again, so if I'm starting from the beginning. So I don't need basically 3 variables. I just need one variable in which I'm going to take the variable in, or the input in, and I will compare it with the maximum. So what we will do is basically, let me just make it, for example, 5 numbers instead of 3 numbers, so 5 numbers. So at the beginning we will take one value, and the first value, since we don't have any other value to compare with, so we'll take the first value from the user and we will assume that it's the maximum. So I will just say, for example, x equal in.nextInt, and then we say max equals x. So that means we assume that the first value that is entered by the user is the maximum. Now we would like to take the second value and keep comparing it with the other values. So we just say for loop. This is how we write for loop in Java. For int I equals 1 or 0, depends what you like to start with. Let's say 1. Let's put 0 just to show, because we in the class we added 1, so let's just say another value. So I less than something, I plus plus, which means increase or increment. Now here we'd like to repeat this process 4 times basically. So 0 is included, 1 is included, 2 is included, and 3 is included. So we just say less than 4. So that means this process will be repeated 4 times starting from 0. We need it 4 times because we already took one value at the beginning. So now you just need to say for loop has also braces, just like if statement. If what? If then sorry, we'll just take another input now, since we took the first one, in order to compare it with the current max. So we just say x equal. We took an input different than that, which is the second input. Now we compare it with x, the new entered value greater than max, so the new value greater than max, and max equals to the new entered value. So this piece of code will keep repeating until we get the maximum value. Once we finish, we just want to display system.out.print, and we'll just say here yeah, max plus is the maximum, and that's it. Let's just test our program. We clear this page and we compile, so we don't have any error. Perfect. And we just now run main, and here enter 5 numbers. So let's say for example 12, 0, 15, 13, and 1. It's supposed to display 15 as the maximum. Perfect. Just one last thing, if I'd like to convert this for loop into a while loop, I just need to declare these 3 things in these 3 fields in different places. So we can just take this part, which is the initialization, and we put it here, and then we just say while I less than 4, and we do the part which we want to repeat, which is take the input, check whether it's the maximum, but before we exit the while loop we just need to update the I. So compile, no syntax errors. Let's rerun it, and let's try it for the last time. So 10, 7, 18, 20, and 3. So 20 is the maximum. So this is a very brief video that explains how do we use the while loop, the for loop, and the